From Amazing Race to Real Housewives, reality TV is on just about every channel and streaming platform. Millions of fans not only watch those shows, they tweet about them, they post about them, and they can't wait to talk about them. Why do we do it? What's the draw that continues to pull us in?
In her book, True Story, What Reality TV Says About Us, sociologist and TV lover Danielle Lindemann takes a good hard look at the genre, and she joins us live. Good morning.
Hi, thanks for having me on.
I don't watch a lot, but I remember in the early days, reality TV really, I think, was more reality TV. It was more authentic. It was like the internet before the internet. But now, my understanding is it's pretty fake. So what can it say about us if it's so fake?
People think it's more scripted than it actually is. But even if it is fake to some extent, reality TV kind of shows us in kind of amplified ways some of the worst elements of our culture, our racism, our sexism, our classism. But it also shows us in amplified ways some of the best features of ourselves. It takes us into places where scripted TV doesn't take us, and it can educate us in some ways as well.
So what draws people to watching reality TV when there's so much other good programming out there? What is it about reality TV that continues to draw millions of people to it?
It's sort of a mixed bag of reasons, but there's certainly the train wreck effect, right? You watch the train wreck to remind yourself, even if you might be messed up in some ways, you're not part of the train wreck.
Yeah.
Right. But we also gravitate toward the people on these shows who remind us of ourselves in certain ways, who kind of fit into broad archetypes like the smart one or the pretty one. So it's this interesting tension where we're kind of distancing ourselves from it, but they also kind of remind us of ourselves.
Yeah, you know, I think real TV does teach us things about, interracial marriage. It broke barriers, interracial marriage and gay rights. What is it that we're learning from fake reality shows that you say we can learn?
Well, I mean, you keep saying fake, right? But anything kind of produced into a cultural product by human hands is not 100% real, right? Even on a news show, you kind of pick which stories to tell, right? And what narratives to tell about them. So it's fake to some extent, but it can still teach us, about our culture and some of the worst and best elements of ourselves.
When I look at some of these reality TV programs, some of the worst, maybe not some of the most highly regarded ones, it seems to reinforce stereotypes about people of color, about gay people, about different categories of people. So what can we look, when we see these images on television, how do we move forward with something more positive?
Sure, absolutely. So absolutely, it has reinforced these stereotypes. But reality TV has also kind of shown us diversity in a way that a scripted TV hasn't historically, in terms of not only racial diversity, which is sometimes stereotypical, yes, but also, has been on the vanguard of kind of queer representation in the media as well. So there's certainly some kind of beautiful things that reality TV shows us that other forms of TV doesn't. And I wouldn't be such a fan if that weren't the case.
I wonder why, other than if you were like a budding actor, why you would want to open your life up to the world. Any insight into that and what it says about people who are more willing to go on these train wrecks?
Well, I mean, these days it's kind of a pathway to fame, right? A lot of the people who go on train wrecks become influencers, right? Have tremendous social media following. So it's a whole new kind of career path that reality TV has initiated.
We had a woman on this program a couple days ago who was participating in that Love is Blind show, and she was talking about how, they ended up essentially breaking up on television. So what has this done in terms of, especially with dating and the way that it's transformed the way that we interact with people?
Sure. Studies do show that sort of the material that we watch on these shows influences the way that we behave and move in the world. Think about things like relationships and how we interact with other people kind of more generally. So if you're tempted to write off reality TV as just kind of a frivolous, guilty pleasure, I would urge you to take a little harder look at it because it's doing something in our culture that is, I argue in the book, pretty momentous.
Can you give us a specific example?
Sure. So the show 16 and Pregnant, I think we know the show. There's evidence that has actually reduced teen pregnancy rates in areas where the show is heavily viewed. So this is what I'm saying, when it can do positive things for our culture as well. It's not just the negative.
Sure.
And kind of jumping off of what Larry just said, what are some of the programs that are out right now that you say that this is a good example of how reality TV can have a positive impact?
Sure. I mean, a show like RuPaul's Drag Race, which is one of my favorite shows, it gives a platform to these kind of queer performers who otherwise wouldn't have that platform. And it teaches us. I mean, I learned everything I need to know about drag queens from that show. And it also teaches us something about gender and how kind of we're all performing gender on a daily basis. So it can be educational in that way.
All right, the book is called True Story, and for more, follow Danielle on social media. There it is on your screen. Thank you.
Thanks, Danielle.
Thank you.